We got President Trump on the ground there. He's touring some of the damage. Let's see if we can listen in a little bit here.
Trump gets briefed on the devastation along the river.
Can't really hear it too well, Sandra, but it looks like he's looking at a map that's been set up there in front of that fire truck and in front of some of that debris. I imagine that's probably the river valley, and they're describing just how widespread this devastation was. As we saw all along the Guadalupe River, the flood stage go from what's normally about 5 feet of the depth of the river to 26 feet in the course of an hour, just sweeping everything away.
You can't help but just feel absolute heartbreak and sadness when you see this image of the buildup, the wall of debris, John, that gathered as these floodwaters, rushed through and sadly took the lives of so many. And you see the president, the first lady, the governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, on the ground there, obviously getting an update, going over the map and the region, and the president getting a look at all this with his own eyes. And meeting with the first responders and meeting with local officials just to understand just how absolutely awful this was, John.
Yeah, and that's the, I believe we've seen him before, that's the Kerr County manager, and he's describing the situation there. We've seen him in a number of the briefings here. Goes over, shakes the hand of Greg Abbott. There's the president meeting, another, looks like police official there. We don't have a list of all of the folks that he's meeting with here. But, you have to hand it to the president for going down there while the situation is still pretty tenuous for a lot of folks in that area, because they're looking for comfort here. They're looking to know that the federal government, that the president of the United States has got their backs. And that's what this president is doing right now, along with the first lady. Is
that our understanding? On the far right side of the screen there, in the white shirt, that's Nim Kidd. He's the head of emergency management. He is the chief of emergency management there. As you see the Kerrville Fire Department truck positioned. And John, you sort of just take in this image and a community that I'm sure is so glad to have their president on the ground and have leadership there ahead of this roundtable they're going to have, where he'll get more of an update and really open up to discussion about how they're going to move forward here, as they know that search and rescue efforts are still underway at this hour, John.
Yeah, and you've got quite a scene of debris there. You've got all of those trees piled on top of each other, and then there's some sort of structure. I don't know if that's a home or some kind of a building piled on top of it. And it shows you just how deep the water was. I was in the car with my son driving him to his basketball camp the other day, and he said, how high did the water go, Dad? And I said, well, imagine our house, which is a 2-story house, having no water around it, then all of a sudden it's up to the roof in water. That's how deep it got, and that happened in an hour. He just couldn't believe that something like that could happen. So you can imagine all of these young kids who are, particularly at this Camp Mystic, 7, 8 years old, never dealt with anything like this. They're at camp to embrace each other, to spend some time in fellowship with their friends and with God as well. And then all of a sudden, this torrent rages through the camp, just stealing everything, including their lives from them. I mean, I can't imagine the horror that those poor kids went through.
You truly cannot. And we pray for all on the ground affected by this, all the families of the victims and those innocent little lives lost, those girls from the camp. And we, coming up in just a bit, we're going to have some guests, Pastor Joe Taylor and Hannah Taylor of Southern Oaks Church. They're part of the community coming together to gather supplies, gather monetary donations, do anything they can to help out the area. So many have come together to distribute supplies for people, in some cases, families who lost everything. We know there are folks who lost their homes, their RVs, their businesses were washed away. So we're going to hear from some of those voices who are coming together to try to help those around them. And, we had Todd Graves on, founder of Raising Cane's out of Louisiana, who's got, so many locations and employees in the state of Texas, who donated $1 million to the relief funds there. People are trying to do absolutely anything they can, and any little bit helps. Of course, the Red Cross stepping in, and they're getting a lot of donations as well to try to help folks on the ground. ground, John.
And of course, we here at Fox as well have got a donation drive going for people who live in the hill country of Texas as well. We'll put that up on the screen for you in just a little while. But in addition to the rescue, the recovery, the rebuilding efforts, over the next weeks and months, there's going to be a lot of lessons learned discussions as well, such as why weren't people told to go to higher ground? Why weren't the warnings more serious heading into this before everybody went to bed? We've heard the Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick say that he and the governor, Greg Abbott, want to put in a network of flood sirens through the Guadalupe River Valley, much the same as the tornado sirens that we see so prevalent across the Midwest that are very, very effective in telling people, hey, it's time to get out of harm's way, go to your storm cellar or go to your tornado shelter, whatever you've got on your property. But, had some sort of siren system been in place and sounded, waking people up, maybe, more folks could have got to higher ground. So, nobody's assessing blame at this point, as Dan Patrick said repeatedly in our program earlier this week. But there will be, I think, a lot of discussions about lessons learned and how to avoid something like this in the future. And as we pull back water, so that is debris on top of a truck that's flipped on its side, and then some sort of structure on top of that. So you can just imagine the power of these floodwaters. We hear about wind damage from tornadoes, and yes, that can be horrible. We hear about earthquake damage, but a flood is a very unique type of natural disaster that just sweeps everything in its path out of the way.
You think about the power of those rushing floodwaters, John.
Hey, it's Will Kane. Click here to subscribe to the Fox News channel on YouTube. It's the best way to get our latest interviews and highlights. And click to subscribe to the Will Kane podcast for full episodes right now.